Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Nara Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirih Nashtaprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome back. And after a blissful Janmashtami and Srila Prabhupada appearance day, we're just surcharged, we're charged up with, devotional credits, you can say, and enthusiastic to, perform our future upcoming services, whatever we'll be doing in our, personal lives in temple or in wonderful that we're joining back again. Yeah, after a long break. Yes, yes. So too much engrossed with collections and book distribution and going to different relatives' places also and meeting them, inviting them for the Janmashtami program. This is only one time that I get to, visit my because of some, some way we are getting connected in Janmashtami with my relatives also. So, yeah. So, I guess third canto, second chapter, we were going to start from the 15th shloka, if I'm not mistaken. Where, Lord's mercy and the Lord's bewildering activities are also being actually said over here. Or I don't remember much, I said that Uddhava remembers the attractive beauty of the Lord. I think this we must have finished for sure. Because the last what do you say, a recording that I sent was till the 9th shloka. Anybody remembers where did we halt? Oh. What we'll do, we'll just quickly brush up from the 10th shloka, okay, so that because even I'm not too sure, we'll just do a quick revision of the 10th shloka onwards. Yeah. So currently this particular section actually is speaking about, this whole chapter is speaking about remembrance of Krishna, and Uddhava is actually replying to Vidura's inquiries. When Vidura inquired about Krishna, Uddhava could not reply because of excessive anxiety, and the character description of Uddhava has been said. And then in the next section from 7th to 11th, where the unfortunate situation of the Yadus and the others were also there, where Krishna, Krishna has left from this earth planet back to his abode, and because he has left, then that is why this universe has become most unfortunate, and even the Yadus were even more unfortunate because they could not identify Lord Hari amongst them as such. And the Yadus, though they were very highly learned and experts in psychic study, they could not understand the Lord, and they could understand the Lord only partially as Paramatma, but they could not understand the Lord as a Bhagavan. And still the Yadus are glorious. Why? Because they had the opportunity to associate with the Lord, they had the opportunity to serve the Lord, and this is actually their fortune. So then ahead in this particular shloka, he says that Devasya Mayaya Sprishta Ye Chandas Asad Ashrita Brahmayate Dhirna Natat Vakyer Atmani Upata Manoharo. He says that okay, I've not shared the screen. I beg apologies. I've not shared the screen. Yeah, so this is the shloka. Sushil Prabhu, please do the honors of reading the translation and purport both.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Jai Prabhuji.
Under translation, under no circumstances can the words of persons bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord deviate the intelligence of those who are completely surrendered souls. Purport. Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to all the evidences of the Vedas. He is accepted by all acharyas, including Shripada Shankaracharya. But when he was present in the world, different classes of men accepted him differently, and therefore their calculations of the Lord were also different. Generally, persons who had faith in the revealed scriptures accepted the Lord as he is, and all of them merged into great bereavement when the Lord disappeared from the world. In the first canto, we have already discussed the lamentation of Arjuna and Yudhishthira, to whom the disappearance of Lord Krishna was almost intolerable after the end of their lives. The Yadavas were only partially cognizant of the Lord, but they are also glorious because they had the opportunity to associate with the Lord, who acted as the head of their family, and they also rendered the Lord intimate service. The Yadavas and other devotees of the Lord are different from those who wrongly calculated him to be an ordinary human personality. Such persons are certainly bewildered with the illusory energy. They are hellish and are envious of the Supreme Lord. The illusory energy acts very powerfully on them because, in spite of their elevated mundane education, such persons are faithless and are infected. Hare Krishna. By the mentality of atheism. They are always very eager to establish that Lord Krishna was an ordinary man who was killed by a hunter due to his many impious acts in plotting to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and Jarasandha, the demoniac kings of the earth. Such persons have no faith in the statement of the Bhagavad-gītā that Lord is unaffected by the reactions of work. Namam karmani limpanti. According to the atheist point of view, Lord Krishna's family, the Yadu dynasty, was vanquished due to being cast by the Brahmanas for the sins committed by Krishna in killing the sons of Dhritarashtra, etc. All these blasphemies do not touch the heart of the devotees of the Lord because they know perfectly well what is what. Their intelligence regarding the Lord is never disturbed, but those who are disturbed by the statement of the Asuras are also condemned. That is what Uddhava meant in this verse. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. So, in this actually, he is saying that if you see in this what do you say text, he's saying that the intelligence of the surrendered devotees is never affected by the words of those bewildered by the illusionary energy. So these people are not affected basically. And give me 1 minute, okay? I'll just show you that screen where it says that I should be able to. Okay, I think my notes are not available. I'm just trying to figure out. Give me 1 minute. I just prepared some notes, but still I'm not able to find these notes. Okay, so actually what they're trying to say in this paragraph is that those who had faith in the scriptures, they believe, the Lord, and He is because they know that He exists, and so even if the Lord has disappeared, they know that the Lord still exists, and that is why the Yadus, they were partly you can say cognizant of the Lord, but still they are glorious because they had a chance to associate with him. So, if you see how envious the non-devotees, they blaspheme the Lord. And Lord Krishna was, they're thinking that Lord Krishna is just an ordinary person who was killed by a hunter due to his sins of killing the sons of Dhritarashtra and Jarasan. So, Lord Krishna's family was killed due to the sins of killing the sons of Dhritarashtra. So, such blasphemies, they do not touch the heart of, the devotees who know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and, his activities are completely, transcendental activities. Any of his actions also will have some meaning and purport behind that. So, then those who are disturbed by these statements of the Asuras, he's saying that they are also actually condemned. And that is why they're saying that these people who are there, they will never find so much of peace. So, indirectly, he's saying that those who are devotees and who are completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, then such people are never bewildered. They are all the time they are, balanced. And all these other things will never get them affected in any way. This is what is being said. Give me one more minute. I had something else also, but I don't know whether I'll be able to share or not. And also further over here, he's also saying that, see, those devotees who are living in this material world, they are actually suffering in separation from the Lord. And the Yadus, though they are eternally in association and are happy in his association. So actually there are two types of persons. One, persons who are fortunate since they have devotion, and others are who do not belong to the devotee category, or not being devotees, they have hellish existence. So those touched by the Lord's Maya, they're thinking themselves that, okay, we are learned people. And those who are taking shelter of this mentality, the evil mentality, they are completely, different from that real conclusions what are there. That, and that is why the demons say that Krishna gave up his body and he went to Vaikuntha. So they say that, Krishna along with his dynasty was destroyed because of the curse of this Brahmana, and because he committed this unjustified violence against great kings like, Dhritarashtra and Jarasan. And that is why the intelligent devotees, whose minds are always absorbed in the Supreme Lord, they are not bewildered by such, critical words, but rather they are absorbed in Krishna's sweetness. And that is why those people who are bewildered by such words, then these people actually go to hell. So this is what is being said in this particular shloka. Let's go to the next. So the next is Pradarshayat taptana tapasam avitripta drasham nrinam adayantar adha yastu swabimbam lokalochanam. Priyanka, please read this translation and purport both.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Lord Śrī Krishna, who manifested his eternal form before the vision of all on the earth, performed his disappearance by removing his form from the sight of those who are unable to see him as he is due to not executing required penance. Purport. In this verse, the word avitrapata drisham is most significant. The conditioned souls in the material world are all trying to satisfy their senses in various ways, but they have failed to do so because it is impossible to be satisfied by such efforts. The example of the fish on land is very appropriate. If one takes a fish from the water and puts it on the land, it cannot be made happy by any amount of offered pleasure. The spirit soul can be happy only in the association of the Supreme Living Being, the Personality of Godhead, and nowhere else. The Lord, by His unlimited, causeless mercy, has innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the Brahmajyoti sphere of the spiritual world, and in that transcendental world, there is an unlimited arrangement for the unlimited pleasure of the living entities. The Lord Himself comes to display His transcendental pastimes, typically represented at Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwaraka. He appears just to attract the conditioned souls back to God and back home to the eternal world. But for want of sufficient pity, the onlookers are not attracted by such pastimes of the Lord. In Bhagavad-gītā, it is said that only those who have completely surpassed the way of sinful reaction can engage themselves in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The entire Vedic way of ritualistic performances is to put every conditioned soul on the path of piti. By strict adherence to the prescribed principles for all orders of social life, one can attain the qualities of truthfulness, control of mind, control of the senses, forbearance, etc., and can be elevated to the plane of rendering pure devotional service to the Lord. Only by such a transcendental vision are one's material hankerings fully satisfied.
Yeah, Priyanka, just 1 minute, okay?
Thank you, Madam.
Yeah. So when the Lord was present, persons who were able to satisfy their material hankerings by seeing them in true perspective were thus able to go back with Him to His kingdom. But those persons who are unable to see the Lord as He remained attached to material hankerings and were not able to go back home, back to Godhead. When the Lord passed beyond the vision of all, He did so in His original eternal form, as stated in this verse. The Lord left His own body. He did not leave His body as is generally misunderstood by the conditioned soul. This statement defeats the false propaganda of the faithless non-devotees that the Lord passed away like an ordinary conditioned soul. The Lord appeared in order to release the world from the undue burden of the non-believing asuras. And after doing this, He disappeared from the world's eyes. So, if you see, this particular shloka is so very important that what is the view of the devotees? The view of the devotee is that the Lord is showing His form to men and He made them taste His sweetness, and ignoring that fact that their eyes were unsatisfied, He took His form, He covered it from their eyes and suddenly disappeared. So He did not give up His material body. In a genitive case, it is used to show some disregard. But, if you see in a correlative way, it is like, it's like how, that the sun, rises from one place and sets in another place and rises in some other place and sets in it. So if you see that the Lord thought that those who are very greedy for Him, even without His disappearance, would actually taste His sweetness more profoundly by separation. But, that would make the Lord someone who takes back what the Lord has given. And this is answered, if you see, in this last line where, Swabimbam lokal lochanam. So the eyes of all people, local lochanam. Lochan means eyes. So, and they are situated in Him. So He gave His form to men so that He could attract all their eyes not to give them a spiritual benediction and take it away like a thief. So this particular shloka is suggesting that Vyaja Stuti, the criticism acting like a praise, for his attractive feature. Sometimes, say, oh, you are looking so beautiful, but sometimes you criticize also and you say. So when Krishna appeared on the earth, he made everyone blind by attracting their eyes rather than protecting them. So blind, we will know she's blind in the love. बोलते हैं प्यार में अंधी हो गई है. So like that only Krishna made everyone blind by attracting their eyes towards him. And since the Lord is unlimited, or since the Lord has unlimited sweetness, then what harm would it do to him if he were to let everyone taste that sweetness for a very long time? And what would be the fault? Since the Lord is the ocean of mercy, so his disappearance creates a misfortune for all people. And that is why it said that apta tapasam. So, a common man's view would be that they had performed. Give me 1 minute. They had not performed some austerity, but they had attained great mercy of the Lord. So, Chaitanya Prabhu says that detachment from matter is not a cause of great attraction for the Lord. And that is why the real cause is suggested, where the very first line Prabhupada says that avitripta drisham, having unsatisfied eyes, that has a meaning. So when one sees the Lord after attaining some great mercy, then what happens? That person is never satisfied even by seeing the Lord many, many times. And that is why this is one of the symptoms of the stages of sneha. Sneha means affection. And therefore, taking this particular form, the Supreme Lord disappeared. But the idea that the Lord gave up his body is also actually defeated, right? The argument is that Krishna gave up the material form and he assumed a spiritual form is actually defeated by these words aptadrisham. So showing his form and disappearing also mean that people cannot see his form, his original form, and they cannot even see his actions. So the Lord is performing his actions by his own will. He does not perform actions because of his karma. So those who argue that Krishna is dependent on karma, these people are defeated. And that is why when Uddhava is saying, or the statement of Uddhava, rather than those of opposed to the Lord, should actually be taken as these authoritative to defeat the idea of these material people. And that is why, if you see, in the very beginning of the first canto, where the Paribhasya Sutra is given, it said that Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. And that is why Bhagavatam becomes full of flavor and pleasing for the listener, because he's speaking about Bhagwan. So that is what actually this means as such. So further he says, so from this particular shloka, there is another section starting in, which says that Uddhava is remembering the attractive beauty of the Lord. So he says that Yanmartaya Leela Pukayam Swayoga Maya Balam Darshayat Grihitam Vismapanam Swayasa Saubhagardhedha Param Padam Bhushanangam. Rupa Mataji, please read the translation and purport.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Translation. The Lord appeared in the mortal world by his internal potency Yogamaya. He came in his eternal form, which is just suitable for his pastimes. These pastimes were wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including the Lord himself in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Thus, his Sri Krishna's transcendental body is the ornament of all ornaments. Purport. In conformity with the Vedic hymns, Niyo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. The personality of Godhead is more excellent than all other living beings within all the universes in the material world. He is the chief of all living entities. No one can surpass him or be equal to him in wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, or renunciation. When Lord Krishna was within this universe, he seemed to be a human being because he appeared in a manner just suitable for his pastimes in the mortal world. He did not appear in human society in his Vaikuntha feature with 4 hands because that would have been suitable for his pastimes. But in spite of his appearing as human being, no one or equal to him in any respect in any of the 6 different opulences. Everyone is more or less proud of his opulence in this world. But when Lord Krishna was in human society, he excelled all his contemporaries within the universe. When the Lord's pastimes are visible to human eye, they are called prakarta. And when they are not visible, they are called aprakarta. In fact, the Lord...
Prakat and aprakat. Prakat means visible,
prakat.
aprakat means invisible.
Prakata and aprakata. In fact, the Lord's pastimes never stop, just as the sun never leaves the sky. The sun is always in its right orbit in the sky, but it is sometimes visible and sometimes invisible to our limited vision. Similarly, the pastimes of the Lord are always current in one universe or another. And when Lord Krishna disappeared from the transcendental abode of Dwaraka, it was simply a disappearance from the eyes of the people there. It should not be misunderstood that his transcendental body, which is just suitable for the pastimes in the mortal world, in any way inferior to his different expansions in the Vaikunthas. His body manifested in the material world as transcendental par excellence in the sense that his pastimes in the mortal world excel his mercy displayed in the Vaikunthas. In the Vaikuntha Lokas, the Lord is merciful toward the liberated or Nitya Mukta living entities. But in his pastimes in the mortal world, he is merciful even to the fallen souls who are Nitya Baddha or conditioned forever. The 6 excellent opulences which he displayed in the mortal world by the agency of his internal potency Yogamaya are rare even in the Vaikuntha Lokas. All his pastimes were manifested not by material energy but by his spiritual energy. The excellence of his Rasa Leela at Vrindavana and his householder life with 16,000 wives is wonderful even for Narayana in Vaikuntha and is certainly so for other living entities within this mortal world. His pastimes are wonderful even for another incarnations of Lord such as Sri Rama, Nrsimha and Varaha. His opulence was so super excellent that his pastimes were adored even by the Lord of Vaikuntha, who is not different from Lord Krishna himself. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. So actually from this shloka where, it says that Lord Vishnu's pastimes even mesmerized Lord Vishnu. And that is where Krishna attracts even his own incarnation. What to speak about, the other incarnations, Krishna is attracting even his own incarnations. And that's why Uddhava is reminded, Uddhava reminded Vidura that, see, you have directly witnessed the great auspiciousness of Krishna. Then why don't you, tell me something more about Krishna? So actually Vidura wanted to hear more and more about Krishna. He wanted to experience that experience the beauty of Krishna's pastimes as such. And that is why he is telling Uddhava that you please tell me more about Lord Krishna. I want to listen more and more about Lord Krishna. But then the next shloka, which says that all the demigods who had gathered over there, actually there is a lot of big explanation about where Krishna is possessing a suitable form for human pastimes to show whatever his full capacity, and the full capacity of his yoga maya. And that form is astonishing even Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha Loka. So this particular form, the Krishna form, the Krishna's Bhagwan form, is actually the pinnacle of auspiciousness or pinnacle of auspicious qualities, and that is enhancing the beauty of Krishna's ornaments also. So when he made his form disappear, did the Lord go to Vaikuntha, or how could he take that form suitable for human pastimes to that Vaikuntha? So this means that even now, as previously he is residing in Dwarka, but we should not think that the Lord has some fault because, okay, he's performing some, human pastimes as such. But the human pastimes are even superior to the Vaikuntha pastimes. So he accepted a form suitable for human pastimes in order to show his full capacity or his full balam of yoga maya, his spiritual energy which is arising from his own swarupa. So Krishna does not establish this form by hiding some sweetness or power, but he's showing it by dispositioning all his power in his human form. And this capacity is not even displayed in Vaikuntha also. So though it is said that Lord accepted this form, his form is inseparable from himself. So no time of accepting that form is indicated actually. So even if you see that the three gunas, the sattva, rajas and tamas, they also belong to the Lord. Without gunas, are accepted by the maya of the Lord for creation, maintenance and destruction. So and if you see, it says that atvam rajas tama iti nirgunasya gunatrayah sthiti sarga nirdoshe grihita mayaya vibhoho. So even the intelligence makes distinctions in the Lord, even though the Lord cannot be distinguished in parts, or intelligence is also making. So that is why this grihitam means the Lord, even actually in the in one of the sandarbhas, I don't remember which sandarbha I had read, but he said that the Lord revealed himself according to his own by his own free will. So in order to show the human form, the Lord is accepting that strength of his yoga maya for accomplishing pastimes, like certain pastimes, like he married 16,800 wives, or when Krishna expanded himself into the calves and the cowherd boys. So, these what you say, these pastimes are astonishing. Even Krishna's expansion, Lord Vishnu, who is the Lord of Vaikuntha, and this human form with so many qualities is astonishing. Even you know, Vidura and Uddhava also. So, what to speak of astonishing even the associates of the Lord in Vaikuntha, who can see all the forms and qualities of all his avatars or expansions. So, this form of the Lord that is there, the Krishna form, the Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam, is the supreme position, Param Padam. And this is full of complete auspiciousness, where he's saying that Saubhagya Gardidha. He's saying this. So even the Lord of Vaikuntha is desiring to see this form of the Supreme Lord. And that is why, where his limbs are ornaments of ornaments. And this is indicating Krishna's supreme beauty. So this is what is being actually said into this particular shloka. Let's see the 13th shloka. So he's saying that Yad dharma sunor bataraj suye nirikshaya drik swastayat mantrilokah kartasnena chadena gatam vidhatur arvakstrutau kaushalam iti amanyata.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji.
I had a question in the current previous one that you just read.
The 13th one or the 14th one?
The one that I read, I think.
Yeah,
13,
the
12.
12th one that you read.
Mataji, in the when I'm reading that, we also in your absence we read couple of Balram's pastimes, and in our group when we are reading we had this question, Mataji, that I posted in the chat room. About here it came about the body, and like neophyte should think that Krishna left his body, but in fact it is not like that. That is what is being explained here. So likewise in Balrama's disappearance it was said that he lived how many years after Kurukshetra war? Is it 36 years after the Kurukshetra war, or is it 36 years after Krishna left his body?
So see, when Krishna appears, before his appearance, what happens? All his associates appear first. And then the king appears last. Okay. But now, when Krishna has to go back to his eternal abode, Golok Vrindavan, so Krishna will go first and then Balram, and other associates will go later on. The king will be actually going first, and then the associates will be going, right? That way. So in that case, Balram has gone later than Krishna. Balram did not go before Krishna. Balram went after Krishna. And immediately after the Kurukshetra war, if you see in the first canto, there were a series of instances that happened. And then later on, Krishna left. And after Krishna left, then Balram has left. Because there were certain duties to be performed by Balram also. And he had to do certain other things which were required at that point of time. So that is how Balram left after Krishna left, not before Krishna left.
So how many years gap is there after Krishna?
That information I really don't have. I need to just check that out with this, that how many years later he left, because Many times we feel that these things are not really important to know, that how many years later he left, or they left into their abode, and then they will be rising somewhere else. Like for example, the sun actually sets somewhere else, but then the sun is rising in some other planet also. So Krishna, even if he's gone away from this planet, he's appearing somewhere else in that planet. And in the spiritual world also now, one soul can actually bifurcate himself into many other souls also and do their part also. So even if Krishna has gone from this earth planet to another universe, so then the question may be that you said, Mataji, that his associates will go first in that particular planet, and then Krishna will go in that universe, right? Or planet, whatever it is. But in that case, these spiritual things sometimes go beyond our also understanding. But as far as my understanding goes, is that they can expand themselves into innumerable forms. And even before Krishna reaches that particular universe, Lord Balram reaches that particular universe. But from here, when he has to go, he will always go after Krishna only. He will not go before Krishna. So first Krishna will, move out from this material world and go to his spiritual abode, and immediately go to the other planet where he is supposed to appear. Because these are all scheduled incarnations or scheduled, avatars of the Lord, which are there, and they are scheduled to appear at that particular time only. So for Krishna to appear as he is, then there is scheduled appearances also of the Lord, where he appears in a particular planet as it is. Okay, so because many times, many places he does not go, he actually, his expansions go, or whom he is appointed, they go. His avatars or his expansions, they will go. But where he has to interact with devotees and he has to express his sweetness, that is the place where Krishna will personally go. He will not, send his expansions or incarnations like that. So this is what is there, that the Lord goes first and then his incarnations will go later on, or his expansions will go later on. Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. We are not able to hear you. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. And also here it says in the ISKCON Desitary, Lord Balrama sat in a meditative state and gave up his body. His soul passed out of his mouth in the form of a great white naga, and thus he was carried by a Sheshanaga in the shape of a serpent.
Yes. See, leaving the body, no, it is actually whatever is in the scriptures is given, we have to believe that how he left his body. But we should always understand that the body of the Supreme Lord or his expansion is not a material body we are talking about. We will see that, okay, the death of this particular person, then he gets buried and then he gets burned and all. But with the Lord, then it's not that same case. The Lord will appear out of his own will and disappear also out of his own will, free will. Okay.
Now, my question is like in somewhere when we read in Canto 1, I guess it says how people will, like in different, how when they leave their bodies, if the life energy passes from eyes or mouth or ears.
That is what I'm trying to say, that Lord Balram is the first expansion of Krishna. So his body is, we should not compare his body to our own material body. We all have material body because of our karmas. This body is made up of karmas, but Lord Balram's body or Krishna's body is not made up of their karmas. They appear out of their own sweet free will, and they leave also by their own free will. So neither Krishna's body was burned, buried, neither Lord Balram's body will be burnt or buried. So we should not take it in a mundane sense that, his body, he left his body and he went. No, they come in that same form and they go also in that same form. We come in a different form and go in a different form. Maybe I might be born as a, human being today, and I will leave this body, but again I will take the body of a hog or a dog, and then I leave again that also. So I keep on leaving bodies, body after body, but the Lord comes in his own transcendental body and he leaves also from his own transcendental body. Mataji. Okay, so
Thank you, Mataji.
yeah, we should not see it in a mundane sense. That
No, Mataji, I have no such questions. Just for kids' questions when they are asking. For me, I have no interest in learning what happened to their bodies and all. But sometimes it is very difficult to
yeah,
explain
it's
when
very
other
difficult
people
to
ask.
explain kids because they have some very super.
So that's why I thought, like, if I ask you, I could explain them in such way, because those kids tend to ask, then what happened to Krishna? Why is he not here? And all. So they ask all such kind of questions, like what happened to his
You can
body.
give
So
them a little high philosophical things also, because Mataji, kids above 10 or 11, they really understand. It's not like that they don't understand. They really understand the details also very nicely. If we explain them properly, they will understand very nicely, Mataji.
yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah.
So now in this 13th shloka, where are we? 12th shloka. Okay, fine. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. So in this particular 13th shloka, he says that यद्धर्म सुनोर्बत राजसूय निरीक्षया दृक्स्वस्त्याननाम त्रिलोक कार्तनस्येनेन चाद्य गतं विधातुर अर्वाकश्रुतो कौशलम इति अमन्यता. So he says that, Anuprabhu, please read the translation and purport both.
Translation. All the demigods from the upper, lower, and middle universal planetary systems assembled at the altar of the Rajasuya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthir. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of the Lord Krishna, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate dexterous creation of Brahma, the creator of human beings. Purport. There was nothing comparable to the bodily features of Lord Krishna when he was present in this world. The most beautiful object in the material world may be compared to the blue lotus flower or the full moon in the sky. But even the lotus flower and the moon were defeated by the beauty of the bodily features of Lord Krishna. And this was certified by the demigods, the most beautiful living creatures in the universe. The demigods thought that Lord Krishna, like themselves, was also created by Lord Brahma. But in fact, Brahma was created by Lord Krishna. It was not within the power of Brahma to create the transcendental beauty of the Supreme Lord. No one is the creator of Krishna. Rather, he is the creator of everyone. As he says in Bhagavad-gītā 10.8, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mataha sarvam pavartate.
Yeah. So, in this verse, Uddhava is actually reminding Vidura that, see, Vidura, you have directly witnessed the great auspiciousness of Krishna. And all people within these three worlds, including even Brahma and even, Indra, they also consider that today in this universe, that the skill of this creator, Krishna, in constructing this recent, this world full of variety, and this all had been nullified by seeing the beauty of Krishna's beautiful bodily limbs. So now there is now, actually a disgust with this, creations of, blossoming blue lotuses and lamp black ointment, this blue sapphire that is there, this rain cloud. So this is actually Krishna's beauty is being described and compared to the blue sapphire or the rain cloud or blue lotus. So seeing the beauty of his face, he's saying that what is the use of the moon and the lotus? So this is what is actually being said. And that is, if you see all these words that are there, they very properly they are actually describing that that how Krishna in that Rajasya sacrifice Yudhishthir, all the people of the universe, they were seeing the form of the Lord. And seeing the form of the Lord created auspiciousness in all directions. And they considered that the skill of the creator is making the most beautiful objects also in the recent, universe that is there, completely nullified at that point of time. And that is why all these analogies of different, full moon sky, blue lotuses and flowers have been given, where it was not within even the power of Lord Brahma to create such a beauty. And that is why Krishna is the original creator. He is the person who has created everyone. So this is what is being said in this particular shloka. So let's go to the next. He says that. So this is like the end of the beauty, the description of Krishna's beauty. Yasyanugra pluta hasarasa लीलावलोक प्रतिलब्धमानः व्रजस्त्रियोद्रिभिरनु प्रवृत्ता धियो अवत्सु किल कृत्यशेषः. So this is also a very beautiful shloka. Rupa Mataji, please read this translation and purport both.
Hare Krishna. The damsels of Raja, after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchanges of glances, were anguished when Krishna left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duties. Purport. In his boyhood at Vrindavana, Lord Krishna was notorious as a teasing friend in transcendental love to all the girls his age. His love for them was so intense that there is no comparison to that ecstasy, and the damsels of Raja were so much attached to him that their affection excelled that of the great demigods like Brahma and Shiva. Lord Krishna finally admitted his defeat before the transcendental affection of the gopis and declared that he was unable to repay them for their unalloyed affection. Although the gopis were seemingly anguished by the Lord's teasing behavior, when Krishna would leave them, they would not tolerate the separation and used to follow him with their eyes and minds. They were so stunned by the situation and they could not finish their household duties. No one could excel him even in the dealing of love exchange between boys and girls. It is said in the revealed scriptures that Lord Krishna personally never goes beyond the boundary of Vrindavana. He remains there eternally because of the transcendental love of the inhabitants. Thus, even though he is not visible at present, he is not away from Vrindavana for a moment.
So, but the attraction of these gopis for Krishna was much greater than all others in this universe. So even including Lord Brahma and Lord Indra also. Because Krishna did not respect the demigods as much as he respected actually the gopis. So having great respect for Krishna, after he had respected them by his, playful glances and all that rasas that, they have exchanged, all those smiles that they have exchanged, all that love, anugraha, pluta that they have exchanged, and their minds actually followed Krishna. Now, somebody might just wonder that how can my mind follow, somebody? But the mind is following him with their eyes. And that moment, at that particular moment, they just remained standing. They were not able to move at all because of, that paralysis due to ecstasy. Sometimes when you're too much ecstasy, you're just stunned. You don't know what to react. So they all stopped all their activities. Whenever they used to see Krishna or remember Krishna, or their minds, they followed Krishna. What does actually, this mind followed Krishna means what? That whenever Krishna used to go to tend the cows, and they used to come out to actually bid him farewell to go to the forest and tend the cows and all. So these gopis, what used to happen is that, after Krishna used to leave, all their activities used to stop, those cleaning activities or, churning the yogurt or serving the food. And they used to be stunned, and because their mind or their heart is actually following Krishna with him. So even while doing such activities, if they happen to see Krishna all of a sudden also, then they will remain motionless, and they will not be able to complete their household chores also. So this love, which is astonishing the whole universe, this love is actually, you can say that this love is astonishing even Krishna himself. And the bewilderment it created in that women of Vraj. So that bewilderment is also arising from that profusion of that prema that they have. So, Shri Vishwanath Chakri Thakur, he says that when you are hearing the, what did he say? He says that when you are repeatedly hearing the descriptions of Krishna's human pastimes, that eternal position of his abode of, Gokul or Mathura or Dwarka, that time when you're hearing these pastimes, so such pastimes, they are very, very, endearing to the heart, and they will help you to love the Supreme Lord more and more. So these pastimes, will help you to come out from that actually I'm trying to find a proper word, but these pastimes will help you to come out from the whirlpools of material existence. So actually, even in the second canto, we had seen a word called whirlpool of material. Whirlpool means what? You see a washing machine, you're being tossed from one body to another. You just are being tossed. So whenever we are hearing the pastimes of Krishna, then immediately, we'll come out from this whirlpool of material existence. So this has been said. Okay, so from here, there is another section actually starting where Lord Krishna's mercy and how his activities are also bewildering. And you can never understand where Krishna will give mercy to whom. Like, for example, even if you see, you all must have read recently in the Krishna book. Okay, how is it possible that Krishna can give mercy to Putana, being a demon? Or how is it possible that Krishna can give Sarupya Mukti to Agasur and Bakasur, both? These are completely bewildering activities. And how is it that those who are present on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they also got liberation? So such activities of the Supreme Lord are completely very, very, different. So what is the gopis' viewpoint? Whether they felt his appearance all the time, even though Krishna is physically not there? Yes. Or whether they lived with physical separation and great agony. So gopis are always in Vipralamba Bhav, love in separation. For them, that love in separation is the highest for them, and that only mood, even Srimati Radharani came with that same mood, and Srimati Radharani's love is Vipralamba Bhav. And that's how even the gopis are also into Vipralamba Bhav. And that mood, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu also came with that Vipralamba Bhav. And he wanted to experience what is Radharani experiencing in separation of me. What is Radharani's separation for me, and what is she experiencing in that separation? What is that love she experiences in that separation? So this is what it means. So gopis are, yes, always in separation. In at least Bomb Vrindavan, okay, in this particular pastime of Krishna. Yeah, anybody else has any questions? We can just take a couple of questions more if somebody wants to ask. How did they live their lives after Krishna left Vrindavan? Yeah, I told you, they also go back to Krishna's abode with him. Wherever Krishna is there, they will accompany him again in his pastime.
No, I meant when Krishna left to Dwarka and when he's doing some other things, when he left Vrindavana.
Yeah. So they actually, Krishna is their life and soul. So they were completely, vacant, and they completely lost their life air, and only their bodies were, functioning, but they are, you can say that with completely mind and heart, they were with Krishna only. Their eyes were completely, wet all the time in remembrance of Krishna. So that state that is there, they were completely, disturbed, but they were enjoying. See, externally it seems that They are crying, but internally that separation is only bringing them closer to Krishna. So that time when they were experiencing this separation, but they were feeling more closer to Krishna. Like I'll tell you example. For example, if the mother's child has gone, away for a few days, then the mother will see the clothes, will see the shoes, the dress of the child, and she'll keep on remembering. And that remembrance makes the remembrance of the child more fonder and fonder and fonder. And when finally, when the child comes back home, she embraces the child more than what she used to embrace previously, because that separation only intensifies or condenses the love between two people. So I'm giving the mother and child example because it's a more selfless relationship in the material world over here, that way. Any more questions? Okay, so if there are no more questions, we'll just call for the day. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So nice that you're back on track again.
Yeah.